talking all things Clarkson hockey here as we get in the last weekend here at the
hopefully
last
it's the last
season game.
weekend. So we have a lot going on this weekend. 4 games inside Shield.
With a
Potentially
possible 5.
5th game on Sunday night when hopefully not
We're going to hope it doesn't.
The girls are in the playoffs. So Matt, give us the preview for the weekend.
Well, the preview for the weekend, it starts tomorrow at 3, I believe.
Yeah,
3:30. The women's team is going to be taking on the Dartmouth Big Green. That is the 1 versus 8 matchup in the ECAC playoffs. Of course, Clarkson last weekend secured themselves a pretty nice piece of hardware going for ECAC regular season championship. The first time in the history of this program that they will take home that regular season championship. The goal by Olivia Howe in overtime sealed it up for them. So, of course, we'll play then again on Saturday. Also a 3:30 game against Dartmouth, and they have the possibility of playing Sunday at 2 if the first games of that series get split. But even more than that, there's more hockey at 7 o'clock both Friday and Saturday. The men
Isn't the men's game at 7:30 tomorrow night?
No, it's at 7.
It's at 7.
7.
7 against
wow,
I can
Princeton.
double check. I'll double check for
a
you.
quick turnaround.
Yeah, that's a quick
Come
turnaround
right
for
back
us.
to play
Yeah.
Friday night, 7 o'clock against the Princeton Tigers. And
Sorry,
then
it's 7:30.
Saturday.
Huh?
What?
7:30.
Yeah, it's 7:30.
Okay,
When
7:30.
they do 3:30,
My bad.
they do 7:30.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Extra 30 minutes for us. And then 7 o'clock, 7:30 again, Saturday
Actually, it's
against
7 on Saturday.
Yeah, it's 7 on Saturday.
7 o'clock
Yeah, whatever.
against
So is it
Quinnipiac
7? Is it 7?
on Saturday.
7 a.m. Friday, 7 o'clock on Saturday.
Either
Yeah.
way, they play
Senior night.
Princeton
Saturday.
and Quinnipiac. Tame the Tigers, beat the Bobcats.
The Prinny Quinny weekend.
Pretty Quinny.
That's what we call
That's good. Senior night on Saturday should be big.
it. Heart-wrenching.
Heart-wrenching, yeah. Yeah, what is there, 7 seniors this year?
7 seniors in total.
Yeah.
Got 'em.
And some big names. Probably at the top of the list is Captain Ben Sexton. He's been hurt quite a bit in the last 4 years, but I think overall he's made a pretty good act here.
Well, I think this year his face-off percentage is the first thing that probably
Yeah.
sticks out to you. But I think what also should stick out to people is the fact he's missed the last 4 games. And over those 4 games, the Knights have scored 3 goals.
Yeah, and they have not looked very good.
They have been struggling offensively without Ben Sexton in the lineup because of the face-offs, because he plays on the power play, because he's the center. He's the first-line center. Without him, you're just missing that guy that likes to pass the puck off, distribute it to his teammates. And the offense has really looked sloppy, and they've discombobulated. They haven't looked like themselves without Ben Sexton in the lineup.
Well, I really think that the whole team has looked that way. It's interesting. Like when I first heard that Sexton was named captain, last year, right?
Yep.
I was very surprised. Just seeing his play style and how many penalties he takes. I was surprised that he was named captain, but I can definitely see, like, especially in the last 4 games, like, not having the captain there, and that leadership role that he plays, he was definitely missed, and you can see how big of an impact he's on this Knights team.
Yeah, and his impact has been very sorely missed. He was the leading scorer. Al McPherson now takes over that with 24 points, but Ben Sexton with 23, 17 of those being assists. He's been so good for the Knights as a distributor of the puck that when he's been out, haven't been themselves. It showed in the win-loss column. It showed in the goal for. They've gotten shut out a couple of times, and and then in a close game against RPI that goes into a 2-2 overtime tie. Maybe if Ben Sexton's out there, Clarkson finds a way to get a third and can come away with a really close win. And especially now we look at the ECAC standings. The top seeds are sort of set. Union has slowly run away with it.
Yeah,
And, the next couple of seeds are there, and then there's the bottom of half. But, right now, if you look at, even if the Knights take one more of those 4 games, that one more point gets them so much closer to securing a first-round bye, which at this point for the Knights would be huge considering they've just gotten so many players from injury. We've seen Troy Josephs miss extended time. Saw another senior, Matt Zoe, miss extended time. And now those guys are just sort of getting into form. If the Knights can get all those injured players back, which they sort of have, but it always takes a little while after you're injured, get your skating legs back under you. So a big weekend of rest would mean a lot. The Knights have a chance. Now, it's not easy. Princeton is not the best team in the ECAC, but we saw the Knights Princeton almost squeak out a 4-3 victory, but the Knights came away victorious. They were able to beat them at Princeton. And then, of course, Quinnipiac, number 2.
Wait, what was that? What was on Saturday?
Quinnipiac. Do I say it wrong?
Yeah, you say it.
How do you say it then?
It's Quinnipiac.
Quinnipiac.
Quinnipiac. The accent, the emphasis is on the N. Quinnipiac. Not
Quinnipiac.
You do Quinnipiac.
It's Quinnipiac.
Quinnipiac. Am I saying it wrong still?
I think everyone says
No,
it
like
wrong.
you say Quinnipiac,
Quinnipiac.
but I say Quinnipiac.
Quinnipiac.
Well, I just say Quinny because
Quinnipiac.
it's too many syllables for me. So
The Q-Pack.
The Q-Pack.
They don't like
Q-Pack.
that, though.
Whatever.
Q-Pack,
We don't care about that.
Q-Pack, Ice
Come
Pack,
on.
They don't like it.
Backpack.
Whatever.
We are the
Backpack.
most biased,
Hacky Pack.
biased of all biased people.
Probably.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
a tough weekend here
It
for the
should be.
Knights.
I'm looking forward to it. I love 4-game weekends. I do. A lot of hockey.
Could be a 5-game.
It could be a 5-game,
There's
Yeah.
a quantum
Um,
fifth game just sitting there.
but lots of hockey, lots of atmosphere. Like the atmosphere in the building this weekend is just gonna be electric. Guarantee it. The women, they want it. They want it bad, and over the last few years, they haven't really had like that great shot at doing much. Like last year, they still kind of like stumbled into the playoffs, but this year they have been on fire going into the playoffs, and I'm looking forward to seeing them.
The women's team has yet to lose a game in 2014.
Yeah,
The entire second semester has been filled with wins and 3 ties. They're on a 16-game winning streak,
yeah,
which is
That's
pretty
good.
much unheard of. But if there's any team that's coming into the playoff right now, it's the Knights because of who they've beaten, how they've beaten them, and all those other teams. Harvard has had some skulls. Cornell tripped all over themselves into
Yeah.
the playoffs. Rarely see
let's-
Cornell lose 2 games in a weekend.
Let's just talk about what happened last weekend and how the Knights took over
And how the
number 1
stars
seed.
aligned.
So
Well,
I
Stars is
I
a good
wasn't
win.
at the Clarkson game. I was watching St. Lawrence beat up on Union.
Boo.
And so at the end of the game, I looked at my phone and I see that Yale Yale beats
Cornell.
Cornell. And
Or no, excuse me,
no.
Yale tied Harvard.
Yeah, it's Yale tied Harvard and Quinnipiac beat Cornell.
Right.
And all last week saying Harvard has to tie one of the games and Cornell has to lose a game.
Yep.
And that is exactly what happened on Friday night, and then it was all in our hands at that point. And I knew I was very, very worried that we were gonna tie the Union game, actually. I was very surprised.
I think you and a lot of other people, once it started to get into the third period,
I was very surprised. The Union team, they came out and played a decent game.
the team I think played a decent game.
The goal,
but
Shanae
Lundberg,
Lundberg.
she played out of her mind.
I was talking to my dad, and he's like, you know what? You guys are coming into this thinking you're gonna blow us out, but Shanae, she'll get
made
on.
it tough.
She'll get on her
she's-
game if
yeah.
she could be on her game, and she could shut you guys down.
She
And
almost
I
did.
mean that's exactly what she did.
Well, I mean, you look at some recent games that Union had played. They lost to St. Lawrence 4-0, but a 4-1 loss to Colgate, a 2-0 loss to Cornell. Union hasn't been a very good team, but we looked at, we do the goalie preview before every match. And, Erica Howe, her numbers, we don't even need to talk. Like 1 goal against per game, 9-4 save percentage, 12 shutouts, I think now.
You could
She's
safely
been
say she's
unbelievable.
Yeah, he's okay.
Erica Howe has been unbelievable, but then we looked at Shanae Lundberg. I think it was 9-22 or something.
Yeah, she has terrible record.
Terrible record, but goals against only 2-7.
Yeah.
And save percentage above 90%. Seems like she was facing about 30, upwards of 40 shots a night, and you go, wow, that's a goaltender that's playing unbelievable for her team. She just didn't have the scoring
Good
around.
goalie with a poor defense.
I mean,
Yeah.
when we played them down there, Union didn't have a shot in the second and third period. And Clarkson had about, 70 shots. They had like close to 70 shots in the game.
I think it ended up something like 56, 58 shots.
Yeah.
But still.
Yeah, it's still it's
It's closer to the 70
60
than other
shots?
numbers.
Yeah.
60 shots in a game, and I think the score was only like 4-0 or 5-0.
Yeah.
They
I
might
think
have
it-
actually
I
scored.
think it was 6-1.
Yeah, 6-1. With 60 shots, that's
Yeah, pretty good.
that I know that Union's gonna miss her next year because I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that team, and I'm not gonna get into it because I'll probably get in trouble. But so yeah, the stars aligned, and now we hold the number 1 seed, something that we've never done in the history of our program. And I, for one, am looking forward to seeing them win this weekend. And then next week, I know that I shouldn't be looking at next week, but I'm really excited for what happens next weekend.
I agree.
Because not only do we get the opportunity to participate in the ECAC championship again for like the 4th or 5th year in a row, we get to see all these great teams in our building, and I for one, I'm looking forward to seeing what pans out, because after last weekend, nothing is off the table for odd things that could happen.
Well, talk about it then. The playoff matchups.
Okay.
This is what we got. Clarkson at first overall with 36 points is taking on Dartmouth at 17.
And we
points.
better win. Like,
You got to believe that the way the Knights played in this second semester, that has to be, you'd hope it would be a Friday, Saturday night win.
yeah, that, like, Dartmouth, they're young. They're really young.
Yep.
They'll put up a fight, but I don't know if they can hang.
Yep. Clark, if
Especially-
the things go as they should, that should
Especially
be very winnable.
so even if they were to take one game from us, on Sunday, I think we got them Monday, no matter what. Like, I would be surprised if we made it to Sunday, but I think
Yeah.
we definitely have them.
Well, the next matchup, Harvard sitting at second overall in the conference, 35 points, one behind the Knights, playing against Yale at 19 points. Yale snuck in there in the last weekend with a huge tie against Harvard,
Yeah,
and then they come back and win. Had a nice stretch there at the end of the season to slowly, build up some points, and then find themselves now in the tournament sitting at 7th. So now this team, Yale, are they in the head of Harvard?
I wouldn't be surprised. Like, if I was Harvard, I'd be scared.
Yeah. Well, I'm scared. You might be worried.
So no, I would be worried because Yale tied them without the what's her name?
Oh gosh, it's escaping me now.
Oh my god, I can't remember her name. They tied her without their one Olympian,
Their best player.
their best player. I can't even imagine what could have happened on Friday if they had beaten them and she had been there. But yeah, that if I was Harvard, I'd be scared.
Or at least worried.
Phoebe Stens.
Stens.
That's her name.
That's what it. Yeah.
Now that's not because we don't think she's good. She's very good. So it's hard to remember them sometimes. But yes, without their best player, they were able to go in to Harvard and take away a point in a 3-3 tie. Not a lot of teams can say they did that.
Oh.
Not a lot of teams go to Harvard and win. The Knights were one of them.
Yeah. Like that's huge.
Yeah.
And that Harvard team's good.
Harvard's very good. Well, their goaltender, Emmerich Mashmeyer, will transition to this a little later. Top 10 finalists for the Patty K Award announced today. A couple of Clarkson players also in that, but we'll get into that a little later.
So next
matchup, the 3-6 matchup, takes us to
Princeton, Cornell.
Cornell and Princeton. Princeton at 6 with 23 points. Cornell sitting at third with 33 points. That matchup, I don't know how Cornell feels about it, but it's another team that needs to be worried after a poor performance in which if they had won out, they controlled their own destiny. It would have been 5th year in a row they could have been the ECAC regular season champions.
So now, what happened? Did they lose on Saturday? Did they lose both games last weekend?
Cornell ended up losing 2-1 Friday against the Quinnipiac Bobcats, led by Kelly Babstock.
How did the Princeton go?
And they also lost.
Oh, that's no way to go into the playoffs
against Princeton.
That is
the team they're playing.
Yeah, 4-3. No way to go in the playoffs.
That is not
playing and Princeton. They're gonna be like, oh, we beat them.
Yeah,
we had the upper hand.
So let's do it again.
Now they just got to do it again. Now,
of course, they do it twice.
Still Cornell.
Yeah,
they're still very good.
And it was a 4-3.
But there are two teams again in Cornell and Harvard that are coming in on a little bit of a cold streak, a little shaky ending to their regular season. I mean, I can't think of the last time I can remember hearing about Cornell women's hockey losing both games in a weekend.
Yeah.
Especially a big-time pressure situation game.
Yeah, right at the end of the season.
The end of the season,
the final weekend, and you lose both games. That's...
You haven't said a darn
wow,
thing
Kurt.
over there.
Yeah, I haven't said much, but I would like to remind everybody that you're listening to 91.1 FM, the source of KnightChat here, happening in the studios at the Student Center. Also broadcasting online at radio.clarkson.edu and on YouTube.
Simulcasting on YouTube.
So I know
at WCCAN Television.
I know I like looking at
like
face
our channel,
and everyone
subscribe.
else's face, so you should come look at our face.
Yeah, I have a beautiful face. But yeah, if I was Cornell, I'd be scared.
Yeah.
And I mean, just like, who knows? Who? It's another one of those like.
Be afraid.
It's something we always say on the broadcast. Any team can beat anyone at any time, especially in ECAC hockey. We've seen on the men's side, on the women's side, we saw Clarkson earlier, Ty Brown in the season 1-1 with a good goaltender play. We saw them barely squeak out a win against Union. We've seen them play tight with Yale. We've seen them, kind of outplay Quinnipiac at Quinnipiac. It's really about how you play that day, and if you don't show up, anyone can beat you. So you got to show up. And, it's if you've just lost a couple games, especially to the team you're playing, it might be a little harder to show up.
Oh, yeah. And like Cornell's going to be down on themselves for dropping 2 games in a weekend.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
all right.
Get to our final matchup.
Ooh.
This one, a very close matchup. One I think I'd love to see.
I don't think so.
Really?
I don't think it's
I got Quinnipiac at the 4th overall seed against St. Lawrence in the 5th overall seed. 29 and 27 points, respectively. St. Lawrence actually has more wins than Quinnipiac, but more of Quinnipiac ties than losses. And I think that's a very close series. I think Quinnipiac is very good, and St. Lawrence is also very good.
I think so. St. Lawrence has really come into their own. Like they've at the end of the season they didn't show much, especially when they played us. It was nothing special,
Yeah.
They were. I mean, they weren't even in the playoff hunt for a little, right? Right at the beginning of the season.
At the beginning of the season they really struggled, and a lot of it. They played New Hampshire, they played Clarkson, they played Boston College, so they started off with a very tough schedule to start off the season. It's just like you look through their schedule, wins, losses. Really, they've been sort of an up and down team, though. Towards the latter half of the schedule here, they've put together more wins than losses, help push them into that playoff spot. But I still like St. Lawrence, like Quinnipiac probably a little bit more, just because of Babstock and Gangelo. They have their more star player names. St. Lawrence has a little bit better team composition. They're a little deeper, but as always in college hockey, especially that one player, if they're that good, they can really push you up over the edge.
Yeah, and I don't know why. I just think that Quinnipiac coming off, what they got 2 wins last weekend, right?
Yeah, they got the win against Cornell, obviously, and then
they definitely.
I'm pretty sure it was
Colgate coming off the big win at Cornell, and then coming off they got
3-0 against Colgate,
and I don't know. I think like they were definitely. They could have, if they performed a little better, I think, at the beginning of the season, they could have been right in contention with the other 3 teams at the top. Yeah. And not that they're far behind. I mean, they're sitting at 29 points and Cornell's at 33. So, like,
yep.
I think they're a young team. But I think that they can definitely do a lot. In the opportunity.
Yeah. It should all be very interesting matchups.
Yeah, and I mean, anything could happen.
Yep. Well, you got to hope, if you're a fan of the Knights like we are, against Dartmouth, you're the heavy favorite.
Heavy.
Come out and show why you should be that number 1 seed.
Yeah. And, like, I think they'll get it done.
Yep.
This team, especially seniors, they have been through so much stuff. They've been through all this before.
Yeah, they've been through the gauntlet.
Coming into this high-ranked game, not really performing, and like especially even if it's not here, but if it's at the ECAC championships, like they've always come out the losers at the end of the season. No, like they have. That's just the reality of the situation. They've always come out losing just poorly. And ever since like I've been here, and they've wanted it. And I think this is the year that they really have all the pieces in place to like get it. And I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I think a couple of pieces are scrolling through that ECAC page. We see it here. Clarkson sort of littered that page now. 2 of those players, Aaron Ambrose and Jamie Rattray, both in contention for the Pat Kazmaier Memorial Hockey Award for the best college hockey player on the women's side. Of course, we know Jamie Rattray, what she's done, leading scorer in the nation. She has led this team in points all year, is still chasing down that all-time assist mark, is only a few away. Over 55 points so far this year, setting career highs in goals and assists. But also Aaron Ambrose, leading scorer in the nation in terms of defense, number 1 in ECAC in terms of assists, and, well, she's right up there too.
Also in my statistics class.
Also in Jacob McNamara's statistics class.
All right, so I don't know.
They're pretty good.
Phenomenal. Like they both played a great year.
Yes.
And I know Rattray has had a phenomenal career here at Clarkson. I don't know how many points does she have at the moment?
I think she's somewhere in the 170 range, if I'm not mistaken.
So I think the record was like 161 or 162, right? 163?
I think it was
163.
I think that might be right. I'm not 100% sure.
I know she broke it. She broke it probably a month ago, right?
Yeah.
And like that says a lot about the player. To break a school record like that of huge number. in 4 years, like most people are lucky if they get to 100 points. And to get to more than halfway to 200, like that's ridiculous.
The scoring record, as we have it right here, is 149 points.
Oh
right
wow.
now, one certain Carly Mercer stands at 147.
Wow.
So
she's almost
she's right on her way to possibly moving into second all-time teammates with Ratchet
That is
all
awesome.
4 years here.
Shows you
And
what kind
that-
of team we have.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
shows you what kind of team you have. Also, Brittany Steiner breaking the 100-point record this year. Erin Ambrose breaking the all-time scoring record for a defenseman in Clarkson history in her sophomore year.
Sophomore year.
She's got 2 more years to continue.
She
I
might.
think
She as a
there is-
defenseman.
There is no doubt she'll be 100. She's about at 80 points right now.
Wow.
There's no doubt she'll break
As
100.
a defenseman,
Yeah.
she might become
Defense woman.
whatever. She might become. I'd give her third all time. In points as a defensewoman.
She is certainly
This is true.
She is right there. And I think people are recognizing it because she's on that list for the Patty Kazmaier Award. She's also been voted into the top 3 finalists for best defensive defenseman in the ECAC, but I don't think anyone here is going to tell you she's a defensive defenseman.
No way.
She's very good at playing defense, but Erin Ambrose's game is all about skating offense, making those long cross passes, distributing the puck on the power play. She's a very good defenseman, and I think, you could probably say right now she's the best defenseman in the country
Yeah,
because she's the only one up for the Patty Award. That's obviously the only person that anyone thought was worth the recognition. So you look at Clarkson possibly having the best forward in the country, probably have the best defenseman in the country.
And then
And
the
Erica Howe is certainly, Mashmeyer has had a very good season for Harvard, and I think Howe has been right there along with her. You could certainly, there's going to be an argument there about who's been the better goaltender this year. I think it might go to Mashmeyer just because this is sort of, I say, Howe's been, everyone looks at Erica Howe's numbers and is like, oh, she's such the proud of good team. And I think that's why she's not been pushed into that spotlight, because her numbers are just as comparable to any goaltender in NCAA this year.
No, I could see that. She has her moments that she every once in a while she'll give up like I don't want to say a weak goal, but like a goal that you don't expect, but that's not to say that she made 10 more saves for every weak goal that she's 10 phenomenal saves for
saves.
every goal that she's given up.
No, I think it just goes to show that of the teams that have been nominated for the Patty Kazmaier, Clarkson sits at one of the only ones with 2, them in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Also, ECAC hockey, I think it shows you where they're going, hold 5 of the 10 nominations.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, like if you look at the list, you have obviously Ambrose and Rattray, and then Kelly Babcock out of Quinnipiac. We were talking about that one player who can make your team better, right?
Yeah.
And then let's see, we have the star goalie out of Harvard, Emerence Mashmeyer. Yeah.
And then Jillian Saulnier from Cornell.
The last one there on the list.
Yeah. There's all very good players. Seen Clarkson take on all of them.
Yeah. And we beat him.
We've beat him.
And I don't know. I would like to see Rattray hit it.
Well, I'd say right now her biggest competition is probably Hannah Brandt from Minnesota, who ties her right now in terms of points. The thing with Brandt, though, is I think she might have a little more national recognition.
Yeah.
She was on the awards list, the top 10 last year. Plays at Minnesota. I think that's the one thing that's going to really challenge Trey, and I think she knows it too, and it hopefully is just going to push her to play all that better. more better. Yeah.
All that more better. Yeah.
All that
All
better
that more better
in the
grammar.
last couple of games here.
Yeah.
I mean, she had a huge opportunity here against Dartmouth to
Put up
come
some
out,
points.
put up points, get yourself through. Don't take it to don't take it to 3 games.
Don't.
Just don't. It doesn't need to go there.
Mm.
Clarkson's a better team. Come out, win those games, and then when the national spotlight gets put on you in that semifinals and possibly the finals,
Turn it up.
that's when you got to show up. That's your chance. We saw the Knights play last year against Harvard in the semis. Was not their best game in the ECAC playoffs. This is your chance now for all those players, for Ambrose, for Howe, anyone on the team. That's your time to show up and go, yeah, this is what Clarkson University is about. This is our hockey team.
And I think they're finally in that position. Like, they finally have everything they need at the moment. Like, they have a strong defense. They have great offense, and they have great leadership. Like how many are there?
I think
6?
there's also 7 seniors
7 seniors.
on the women's side.
If you think about the seniors, they're all integral to this team.
Yep.
I mean, you have Mercer, captain. She's been here for what, 2 years? She's
She's been the captain for the last 2 years. Got her junior season.
Yeah.
Carried it over into her senior season. And
I mean, if you think about like who she took the captaincy from last year, like Wood and Skiro, like,
that were assistant captains on the team.
great players.
Yeah.
But to give her the captaincy over them, it's like that tells a lot about her. And now she's like in her senior year, the leadership must be phenomenal. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
You doing
I've
something
been trying to
funny?
get over in edgewise here, but
What do you want to say, Kurt?
Well, I want to say we got like 20 minutes left. We haven't said anything about the men. First off,
Well, I mean, okay.
Second thing,
So
whoa,
We're a
whoa.
little excited about the women's team.
We
Second thing, for all of you, for all of you out there listening,
It's the
If-
only reason we on. Kurt.
no, you don't even know what I'm gonna say. So
Oh,
for all of you out there listening, if you have a question about ECAC hockey or you want to call into the show, our studio line here is 315-268-7657. That's 268-ROKS. And we'll take your questions. We'll put you on air live. So give us a call. Matt, or I almost said Brandon. Matt and Dan here can talk your guys' ears off too. So.
All right. So since
right,
Kurt
so
wants to talk
Curtis,
about the
fine.
men's team,
I mean,
We're just running out of time here. We got 15
it's
now.
okay. I mean, we do have 2 Patty. This is the MVP in the nation.
We'll be able to talk about them next.
Okay, fine, whatever. Anyways, so keep an eye on them this weekend.
So what you're saying is an important part of the women succeeding this weekend is for them to win both games.
Yes.
I think that's
Okay, good. I just
okay.
wanted to make sure that's what we were getting at.
Yes.
here.
We
Okay.
want them to win
Win.
both games.
Okay, both get more points than the other team.
now that the horse has been beaten.
and we
Okay.
also one more thing.
What?
People out there listening, watching on YouTube, please show up.
Yeah, come to the games.
Come out to Cheel for free.
They're
weekend.
cheap. They're
The
cheap.
free. If
well,
you're a
yeah,
student,
student. But
And the
I think
men's
they're
games are
still
after.
only like
yeah, $3, something
$3
like that.
I don't know. I don't know
Show
how.
up.
You
This
could probably
is-
walk
I
in.
am skipping my
Yeah.
statistics class at 3
It's
o'clock to go to the
basically
women's.
There you
free
go.
hockey.
There you go.
And my
This is
GPA in jeopardy, which
big-
it already
Bring the
kind
kids.
of is.
Big
Break the
time
kids.
hockey.
You know what? You know
And
what they
the-
should have done? They should have bussed the kids in after school, like it's game time, like right after school. How smart of it?
Potsdam, just
Instead of 3:30, all
Potsdam,
the
just-
buses going.
All the
to
buses just
dropping
stop right
kids
here.
off,
Just filled out kids.
Yeah,
You do
I
know
don't think
that
it would be
you don't know that the
children's
pep band is still
environment.
going to be there, right?
yeah, they better.
Yeah, they.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Actually,
This
what's funny,
is-
we actually got called out on Twitter by Carly Mercer saying, "Hey, you guys better show up."
This is
So we
one
were
of the
like, well, we
last
pretty much
times
have to.
we
Should've
will
told
be
her.
able
So-
to see a
You
lot of these. This is the last time a lot of people are going to be able to see one of the Patty Kazmar Memorial Award finalists, probably a top 3 finalist, if the winner, Jamie Lee Rattray. Her last couple of games, like, she is one of the best players in women's college hockey, if not the best.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of chance you're going to get to see her, Carly Mercer, Erica Howe. This is the Knights
Well-
team making the push.
Well, yeah, they just have to-
Everyone should show up.
You know what we should do? We should do some sort of campaign, like, I don't know.
Like a hashtag,
Yeah, we're powerful enough being the media source for the.
pretty much. Yeah. Integrated,
For
they don't
the-
have Jack on us.
Yeah, no.
Which
But
is
yeah,
our
we'll
newspaper
get that
that
out.
don't know.
Yeah, come down to the game. It should be good. Games, they should be good.
And
So-
Four, if not five.
And then if you've got nothing going on after the 3:30 game, there happens to be a game right after both nights.
Yeah.
In which the men's team will be playing.
we
All
do
right.
still have a men's team.
We do.
We do. And
there.
let's talk about the men's team. So we were talking about this a little beforehand. Okay, Jacob, go.
I
Bye.
have to go, unfortunately. So you've all been lovely.
Thank you.
Get out.
Okay, yeah.
I'm gonna get-
Leave.
Turn the mic off. Just turn it off so I can't. Turn
No.
One.
Was that
And
me?
he's gone. Oh,
Yeah,
he's
get
gone.
out.
All right,
Get
so
out.
we were talking about this a little before we came on the air. We did it last week for the women's
I've
to
got-
take number 1. So right now we are currently in 6th place in the ECAC with 21 points. Yale has 22, they're in 5th, and Cornell has 24. They are in 4th. So we can come out of the weekend with a maximum of 25 points. And so I want to know how we get the first round bye in the playoffs.
Well, Dan, I've got the schedule up here.
Okay.
Cornell is sitting 4th right now, like you said, 24 points.
Yep.
We need Cornell. Cornell cannot win a game.
Yes.
If Cornell ties and loses, or loses both games this weekend, when that's against Dartmouth and
Harvard.
Harvard.
You know, I think we would take that because we would have more wins. Right.
If we
Because
were tied, we should have the tiebreaker with more wins.
we
We would
have
because we're going
so our record will be 10-9-1,
This is assuming we win both games.
at the end
assuming we win both games.
so
so
it'd be 12-9.
It would be 12-9-1. Cornell loses one game and ties the other. They would have 10-7-5, which I'm not sure how it works.
It's conference. It's conference wins.
Pretty sure it's conference wins.
Conference wins. Okay. So we would take 25 points and they would have 25, but we would have more wins.
Yeah.
Even though we have more losses. Whatever.
It's conference.
So we would jump Cornell. Boom.
Boom.
And got Yale, who if Yale wins out and Cornell suffers a loss in the tie, like if he
Mhm.
wins out, they will move into that spot.
Yes.
They're ahead
So
of us.
I think if Yale
Drops a
wins,
game.
so if say there's a 3-way tie for the 4th spot, I think we would take it.
It's us because we have to win games to get there, and if we win 2 games, we're gonna have. Or Yale can only come out with 11 wins, and we're gonna come
Yeah.
out with 12.
That would be the scenario. Conference wins is the next tiebreaker, so it would put the Knights through to the 4th seed,
Which would give us the first round
give you the
bye.
first round bye, which is highly recommended.
Yeah.
And
That comes with a highly recommended sticker.
and Yale's coming in, RPI Union.
Not an easy matchup. As
No.
we saw the Knights struggle against Union 5-0 shutout and then a 2-2 loss RPI. RPI you can see is such a different team with Ryan Haggard.
Yale could easily
Drop
lose both games.
All they got was drop 1.
No, they need to drop 2. No, yeah, you're right.
All they do is drop 1.
But they could easily drop
If
both
they
games.
if they
So-
win in tie, though, then that brings up the 3-way tie.
3-way tie,
Right.
and then we.
Well, let's
because
say
we would
this.
have-
We're going to assume Union continues to play well because that has been a pretty much a constant.
Yes.
So let's say Union plays Yale on Friday night.
Sm-
Union's going to win. That would be my thought going into that matchup,
Yeah.
just who the teams are, the way
Unless
Union's would
so,
play.
unless Union lays up.
Like a huge egg.
Yeah.
Which I don't see them doing. I think Union's very, very good talented throughout their roster. They don't really have a star player, but they've got lots of really good players.
Yeah.
Including Colin Stevens, who has been unbelievable in that.
So, this is all fun and dandy.
Yeah.
But we've got to win these 2 games.
Yep.
Coming in Prince Friday, Quinnipiac, or the Q-Pack, however you want to say it, on Saturday. Very good Q-Pack team.
Very good Q-Pack team.
We got to come away with it. And Matt, how do the Knights do that? How do the Knights come in their senior weekend? How do they make it happen?
Well, I think they've proven they can beat Princeton. They beat them earlier this year at Princeton. So now you have the home ice advantage. You know something for you is on the line. For Princeton, it's not. Princeton is going to be away no matter what happens in playoffs. They're going to be one of the bottom 2
Yeah.
teams that have been decided. That is, they cannot move any higher. They're going to be the bottom team, actually.
Have to be, yeah.
They're going to be. They can't catch anyone. Princeton has had a very bad year. But you have to know they're going to come out ready to play because of momentum. I always talk about it, especially going into playoffs. You have to start to play well. The Knights have not. Teams like Harvard and Dartmouth have. And those are teams you do not want to run into right now.
No.
Because Dartmouth was playing very, very good. So was Harvard. But Princeton has been a down team this year. If the Knights come out and play the way we've seen them play against teams that beaten, when they play well, the Knights can contest a lot of teams in the nation. They can play a lot of good teams, and they can beat them. We know that for sure.
So, what for a win on Friday?
Yeah.
Now,
I think the Knights should definitely be able to come out with a win on Friday, but on Saturday, you play, in my opinion, probably the best offensive team in the country. Though you can probably argue Boston College is right there. Quinnipiac is also right there because of the depth of scoring they have.
Watch what I do here.
I'm going to watch, okay, yeah.
You know what might actually help the Knights out this weekend? The women's team. Hear me out.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So the women, they come in, and they beat Dartmouth both times. Think about how that is going to build the atmosphere in that building.
Yeah.
The women just come out, and they play 2 great games at Shield. Couple hours, and they finished a couple hours before the men gone. That place is going to be buzzing.
Yeah.
And that can only help.
No, yeah, that can
only
help because you've got.
You have the whole pep band.
The pep band's excited. The crowd's excited. Men's team is gonna be there while the women are playing.
Yeah.
They're gonna need to live up to what the women's team just went out and did.
Yeah.
The place is buzzing. It's senior night, which can never be underestimated.
Yeah. That's another thing that's in their favor.
Especially who the seniors are and the leadership that they've had for this team. They want to go out with a win, and if they can beat Princeton and the game's gonna mean something, that hopefully Clarkson gets to that game. They show up big time.
Yeah.
It's gonna take a big effort to beat Quinnipiac. We heard on the radio from Bob. For a while there, Quinnipiac and Clarkson, when Clarkson went and played at Quinnipiac, that game was close for a long time. Now, eventually, Quinnipiac sort of ran away with it a little bit. Some of that offensive firepower, Jones added a late goal, but Clarkson stuck with Quinnipiac. They got 2 early goals in the first, got 2 back early in the second. One play that stout, we actually saw it. One of the guys, Nick, had his laptop up in the booth. We saw Will Frederick come in on a breakaway, go backhand, and hit the post.
Yeah.
Beat Gardig, had him down.
Typical Golden Knights style.
Yeah, in typical style.
Yeah.
And that would have put the Knights up at the 3-2. Instead, Quinnipiac comes back about 5 minutes later, goes up 3-2, 4-2, 5-3, and then 6-3, and it's over. But we know the Knights can stick with them. We know when they play their best, they are good enough to beat any team that we've seen them play. They stuck with Union, even though Union was a little shorthanded. They still had a lot of their really good players. They were able to come away with clutch wins over teams like Cornell, St. Lawrence. You look down anyone, they've stuck Lowell for 3 games in a row. They were right there. They played Vermont tough. There's a lot of talent on this Clarkson team, and if they can put it together with the building atmosphere, some momentum from a win on Friday, knowing it's senior night, knowing the women just took care of business, you can't get Knights out, but it's going to be an uphill battle.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It'll definitely be a big fight. One that I'm looking forward to seeing.
I got a question.
Yes.
Matt, you probably would know. How many games has Villarenola started for the Knights?
That would be 2 games for Villanova this year.
And
One of them, a win over Merrimack,
okay,
his very first collegiate start, and the other, the loss against Quinnipiac.
so how does that game? I remember looking at the stats that weekend when away because I was
Yeah.
it was a big weekend, and I knew thinking ahead to this senior night cup, I wanted to know how that game might have turned out, maybe with Lewis or Perry in net.
I don't know. That's a tough question.
That's hard to tell, but the
Um,
one thing you can look at is those guys have been once again trading back and forth starts, and whereas in the first semester it was working, now it's not, and I think the game changes depending on who gets to start Friday night and the outcome of that, because if it's Lewis like we've seen and Perry, you don't know. You also have to wonder, the fortunate for you is you get Quinnipiac on Saturday night after they have to go play St. Lawrence.
Yeah.
Now, St. Lawrence has not been a very good team, but they score a lot.
Yep.
The one
No.
thing that you can hope for is maybe St. Lawrence, they get into a shootout there.
Let's hope they carry.
Something crazy.
Let's hope they carry.
6-4,
turns it
some
on.
Sure,
kind of
sure.
game that it could be more than that. Those teams have so much offense that they could be 10-5 or 10-11 game. There's so scoring there. If that happens, you've got to then bring Quinnipiac here after they battled it out with St. Lawrence in a firepower-filled game. And if Lewis gets to start Friday and Perry gets to start Saturday, you've got a fresh goaltender. They've got a goaltender that just gave up 5, 6, 7 goals.
Or 10.
Or 10.
Yeah.
That's one way that this game could really slide in the Knights' favor. Another way is if it's a really close game with St. Lawrence, where Quinnipiac's got to struggle to pull out a... Because Quinnipiac is still trying to secure themselves a spot. They're only at 3. There's a chance they can fall out of the top.
Four.
Yeah.
Actually, if
There is.
if they lose both games this weekend, if St. Lawrence gives them a run for their money and they come out on the bottom, and then we put away, that puts us
tied
tied
at
with
25
them
points,
in points.
which would give us...
We would come out because we would
Right.
have 12 wins.
And then, say, Cornell takes care of one game,
Yep.
and they're third, we're fourth, and Quinnipiac's playing this
Man,
weekend.
I'm taking a look at the board here, and there are so many different variations that can go this weekend that we will end up in the spot.
It's anybody's.
It's
anybody's.
it's
This is-
truly anybody's game.
This is the other thing. Clarkson can end up, I think it was 3rd to 8th. I think it was the stat I saw. Anywhere in the standings,
yeah,
if everything
yes.
falls about right.
Yeah, we could take third because if we
from
win,
Quinnipiac.
yeah, if we win both our games weekend, Quinnipiac loses both theirs. Cornell. Okay.
Bye, Kurt.
Bye, Curtis.
I got my meeting. You
Yeah.
guys get off air, would you?
Yeah,
6:30.
eventually.
We'll wrap here quick.
Yeah. But Quinnipiac loses both theirs. Cornell, they could tie one of theirs and lose the other one. And then Yale could win one, lose one. And we win both of ours, and we take the third spot.
Yeah.
That's
There's a lot of scenarios that could play out this weekend.
but
Much like we saw with the women's weekend.
Yeah.
Last weekend, we didn't know who was. There's 4 teams. Actually, Quinnipiac had a chance.
They did.
It needed a lot more to fall right for them than they got, but they took care of business on their end.
We probably would have had to drop both of ours.
Yes, I think we would, and so would have Harvard. But they had a chance.
Yeah.
There's a chance for a lot of teams to move around here on the men's
Yeah.
side as well.
It'll be interesting come Monday
To see what's
to
unfolded.
see what's unfolded and like where we'll end up playing or who will end up playing next weekend or
Well-
the weekend after.
Pretty sure Clarkson will host another playoff series this semester. It's
Yeah, I don't
always
know.
good.
I don't think we can.
Well, St. Lawrence sits at 16, so
They
the
can't-
most they could get up to is 20. There's really no way for them to catch us
so
and drop
if
us
we drop,
both games. Everyone else wins theirs. Right now, Clarkson finished from 3rd to 8th.
yeah.
With
so
that eighth
if
spot,
we drop
though-
from 6th spot, then we still get
At
No.
8, you still get a first-round playoff series.
Oh, so yeah, we'll
4
definitely
through
have the
8
home
host
game.
9 through 12. So Clarkson's gonna have a first-round home
Yeah.
playoff series. It's just who that's gonna be, and maybe they don't have to host anyone, and maybe they go to the second weekend
Yeah.
and get that bye. We don't know. It should be fun hockey this weekend, though.
I
A lot
definitely
of
think so.
games, a lot of stuff online. Women's hockey in the playoffs, men's hockey. Where are they gonna finish?
Should be a great weekend. Come to the games this weekend. Cheer on the Golden Knights, men's and women's teams. Let's go through the final schedule right before we sign off. So, women's play tomorrow at 3:30 in Shield. Men play tomorrow night 7:30 in Shield Arena. And then on Saturday, the women start at 3 o'clock. And the final puck drop of the Golden Knights regular season drops at 7 p.m. on Saturday night here on Clark Campus at Shield Arena. Thank you for listening today. This has been Night Chat on WTSC 91.1 The Source, simulcasted on YouTube at WTCAN Television. And thank you. Have a nice day.